That shattering, joyous noise you're hearing back there is music of Gustav Mahler. It's the end of his first symphony, the starting place in a lifelong symphonic quest that's made him, in the minds of many people today, the supreme symphonist. His pieces are big and overwhelming and lots of fun to perform. What's not to like about a standing ovation? But the quality of his music that first attracted me, and still does, is something else. Something that would still be there were I never to play another note of his ever again. It's what I experienced the first time I heard his music. I was 13 years old, and by accident listened to the introduction of a song called The Farewell, part of his cycle, The Song of the Earth. The edgy little melody cut through me. The loneliness and desolation of it stopped me in my tracks. And strangely, it all seemed familiar. It seemed to describe the sad and beautiful questions of my own life, which at that age I hadn't even put into words. One thing I know is his music made me a different person.
Make sure there's no...
I think many people have had this experience with Mahler's music.
Mahler takes the heart and just squeezes it like this. And this is what I felt from the very first time I ever heard a symphony. Because he has such a rhythmic impulse, but also there's such a tenderness, and at the same time, this kind of tension and resolution. And I love that.
It certainly has an emotional impact. It brings one to tears, it brings one to joy. It's exciting, it's engaging. I need to listen to it.
I was at once drawn into the power of this music, but in a way that I'd not expected. What I found in the music was a huge calm.
I was 15 years old when I first heard Mahler's First Symphony in San Francisco, and it just hit me like a bolt of lightning. For a teenager, when you're trying to figure out who you are and how you fit in the world, that piece of music just opened a whole universe.
Somehow he includes us in his voyage of self-discovery that tries and tests every possible route towards some kind of conclusion. Sometimes it's a blaze of glory, or sometimes it's a sigh of resignation, of gratefully letting go. Who was this man? Where had such music come from? So here it is, Mahler's life's work. 45 songs, 10 symphonies. In fact, the symphonies and the songs are inseparable. Together, they form one work, witnessing his life's journey. It took Mahler around 25 years to write all of this, and he wrote it basically in his spare time, because you see, Mahler had a day job. He was a world-famous conductor. the hands-on music director of companies like the Vienna State Opera, the Metropolitan Opera, and later the New York Philharmonic. Most of his life was spent in rehearsals, in orchestra pits or on rehearsal stages like this. It was only in odd stolen moments between rehearsals and a few months of summer vacation that Mahler had the time to compose. Throughout his career, he withdrew to small composing huts in the Austrian countryside. He needed the solitude to reconnect with the real source of his inspiration, the sounds of his childhood growing up in a small Moravian town. Mahler was raised in Jihlava, or Iglau, as it was known in the 1860s during his boyhood. Now a part of the Czech Republic, Iglau was a provincial way station on the road from Vienna to Prague. In Mahler's day, it was a major military encampment, defending the Austrian Empire against Prussian aggression. So just imagine this place in Mahler's time, filled with thousands of soldiers. Each regiment has its own band. The Austrians, the Hungarians, the Romanians, they play music in different flavors, and young Mahler can't stay away from it. He's compelled to come here and follow behind the bands with his accordion, imitating whatever music he hears. Mahler knew when the troops were marching since he lived above his father's tavern, just half a block off the town square. So this is the view Mahler had from the front rooms of his parents' house. If you look down there, you can see that just a few steps away is the parade grounds. That means that with the windows open, all that racket of military music would have been coming in here. And there was other music, too, the sounds of the tavern musicians below us, which would have been filtering up the courtyard. The tavern catered to soldiers and a rough crowd from a town that was a stew pot of different social classes and origins. Jews like the Mahlers lived next to native Moravians and Bohemians, all trying to hang on to their own culture and customs. Jews were periodically resettled throughout the Austro-Hungarian Empire. That's how Mahler's family, like Freud's and Kafka's, ended up in small towns, never knowing what capricious edict might come down next from Imperial Vienna. Mahler was raised in an observant family in Iglau, part of a small, insular Jewish community. On an early visit to the synagogue, the precocious young Mahler brought the prayers to a standstill by shouting, be quiet, it's horrible." Then he began to sing one of his favorite songs at the top of his voice, the knapsack polka. The memories of the old tunes would haunt Mahler, but so would music from a more surprising source. As a boy, Mahler may have sung in the choir of the St. Jacob's Church. A family friend was the choir master. And here he was introduced to the great masters like Bach and Handel. Well, young Mahler would have probably sat here someplace amongst the choristers. As he sat here, he could look up past here, and there, right in the center, he could see an angel pounding away on two of his favorite instruments, timpani, and lots of trumpets and trombones and harps accompanying. These were sounds he would feature as his symphonies reached their heaven-storming climaxes. I've always known about this town, but it didn't occur to me until I actually came here and began walking around how much the situation is like the kinds of shapes we encounter in one of Mahler's symphonies. This enormous great square right in the middle of it, and then down every street, another little destination of his life with its own special flavor. The synagogue that way, his parents' house and tavern that way, the church where he was a chorister that way, the school he attended every day that way, and of course, in this space, all of the richness of all the military music, the drills, the parades, the different bands competing with one another. This made for a huge jumble of sounds, a kind of sonic goulash, echoing down the narrow streets of the town and bouncing off the walls of the parade ground. There were two main ways Mahler could go back and forth between the locations of his daily life. The most direct one was back there by the parade ground, but another one he loved was this way, past the city walls and out here into this great green space, an enormous ravine. People loved to promenade here in his day, and they still do. This was the final piece of his symphony's sound world, the serenity of nature to which he always returned.
And it may well have been in this ravine that Mahler's father used to find him lost in a trance, simply staring and listening in the big forest. What was he listening for? Well, of course, there were the cries of birds and animals, a bit of distant weather, but it was mostly the silence itself that attracted him. That wonderful shimmer that seems to come into our ears when it's absolutely quiet, that connects everything in nature.
The ravine was a microcosm of the wider natural world surrounding Mahler's boyhood. Much of his family lived deep in the Czech countryside, in villages that dotted the meadows. Mahler was born in one of them, Kalište, a mere crossroads surrounded by open fields.
What you still experience here is this vast space from horizon to horizon. It's empty, it's quiet, only a few little domestic or agricultural cluckings and squeakings from around the corner, and from far in the distance, maybe a sound of a horn or a bell or a barking dog. It's this huge sonic horizon. This sense of the wideness of acoustic space made an enormous impression on Mahler.
The breadth of vast space, the stirrings of life within it. One word summed it all up for him like a musical abracadabra: Naturlaut. When it came time for Mahler to write his first symphony, he decided to begin it with this essential experience of his childhood. He invites us right into his dream space in an introduction he called Naturlaut, nature sound. We're inside his skin, listening as he listened. And what we first hear is an arc of A naturals spanning over 6 octaves. It hovers around us like a wide horizon, suggesting the world awakening after winter. Little bits of sound begin to float in. They're not melodies, but motives, wispy fragments of half-remembered music from which the mighty symphony will be built. Mahler already has the big plan in his mind, and now, slowly, he begins to reveal it to us. First, we hear woodwinds quietly calling and answering to another. Their call has the shape of a falling fourth. The calls arrange themselves into a kind of falling chain that seems to lead questioningly onward. The chain leads us to new vistas of sound made of Mahler's collection of musical souvenirs. Mahler asks for everything to be played as if it is in the extreme distance, suggesting the sound comes from far away and from long ago.
It's mysterious. You're not quite sure what is coming in the future, and it adds that, extra element of tension and suspense.
All of a sudden, there's this cuckoo coming out of the clarinet that seems to wake the whole world up. Bum, 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 bum. It's something that says, hey, guess what, world? This is a big piece, and you're going to be taken through an amazing experience here.
You may have noticed that Mahler has given his cuckoos a musical makeover, changing their actual call to this. A perfect fourth. Why? So that Mahler's cuckoos will chirp like the fourths that unify this symphony. So far, time has been suspended, but now a fatalistic bass line begins, relentlessly moving us on out of the dreamscape. The music twists and turns as Mahler makes his way toward the main theme of the first movement. He based much of it on a song cycle he'd written 3 years earlier at age 23, the songs in which he really became himself, the songs of a wayfarer. The wayfarer was an archetypal character who'd appeared in romantic literature for at least 100 years. On the one hand, he was a journeyman seeking a place to master his trade. On the other, a poet, escaping into nature to forget his shattered dreams and lost loves. Since age 20, Mahler had been a wanderer, knocking around provincial opera houses as a low-ranking staff conductor. He never knew what was coming next and lost himself in learning the next show or flirting with its leading lady, who sometimes broke his heart. From one of these heartbreaks, these lonely songs emerged. The songs of a wayfarer are deft masterpieces of simplicity, using only a few small gestures. Mahler realized his audience would fill in the rest. But one of these songs starts with a cheerful, confident stride.
Ging heut Morgen übers Feld, Tau noch auf den Gräsern hing, sprach so mir der lustige Fink, I do care.
Mahler used this carefree tune as the main theme of his first symphony. The symphony at first follows the shape of the song, but we've soon walked past its boundaries until everybody's belting out the tune or cuckooing like crazy. And then suddenly we've lost our way. We're back in timeless space, an even scarier space than the one we heard at the beginning of the symphony. Low tuba and bass drum add an ominous quality as the cellos get down to considering the essential question: how's it gonna go? Are we going to be happy? Or sad? What's going to happen? Well, once again, the menacing bass line comes back in, insisting you must move on. You must decide. And then miraculously, a new solution appears. It's a new version of our walking tune, starting with those same two notes, but now reconceived as an ensemble of horns, playing very cheerfully, sounding as if they're just down the road a bit. They sound so friendly that the cellos do decide to be happy, breaking into a new confident theme that says, let's go. All goes well, but typically of Mahler, there's one final confrontation. The menacing bass line hasn't gone away. Now it comes back at a new level of insistence, and the happy mood veers into terror. Then the trumpets take their final stand. Up to now, their fanfares have been mostly in the distance. Now they're right on top of us, coming to our rescue.
get faster and faster as we rush forward to a recklessly happy ending. The whole orchestra, even the timpani, is cuckooing itself into happy exhaustion. Now that we've heard this music, let's look again at how much it suggests the soundscape of Mahler's hometown. Perhaps you can see it more clearly on this map. Here's the ravine, where Mahler lost himself in the sounds of nature. The distant fanfares would have been coming from over here in the center of the town, from the parade grounds. And down here, just off the parade grounds, was Mahler's house. From his bedroom window, Mahler could hear the dance music coming up from his father's tavern below. At the time, taverns were one of the few businesses Jews were allowed to run, and Bernhard Mahler owned his own place, like his father before him. Night after night, rustic dance music filled Mahler's young ears. It was music like this that inspired many of his scherzos, including the second movement of his first symphony. The tavern was a popular spot for soldiers to drop in for a drink, make music, and dance with the local girls. Mahler would have seen them swaying to dances like the Ländler or the Steirer, country cousins of the waltz. And he very likely heard them singing songs like the popular Song of the Postilion. Mahler's experience of this music couldn't have been more direct or varied. Customers would have constantly come into the tavern, many with their own instruments, singing and playing the music of their districts their own way. Mahler remembers the rustic quality of the music making and represents it with affectionate humor, using the full forces of the symphony orchestra to imitate the tipsy country bumpkin style of the folks downstairs.
There are these repeated eighth notes that we play in a style that's called stopped horn. Basically, we just jam our hand in the bell and we make this really kind of gnarly, nasty sound.
The whole empire moved to the 1-2-3, 1-2-3 pulse of these dances, and every officer, clerk, or farmer glided or stomped his way across the dance floors.
there was another, darker influence on Mahler's music. It came from his experience of loneliness, isolation, and death. Eight of Mahler's 13 brothers and sisters died before they reached adulthood. It's no surprise that his works deal with death so often. The death of so many of his siblings, the constant presence of death in the military world surrounding him. Many of these heavy ideas were in his mind when he set out to begin this weird and deceptively simple movement.
It would have been pretty shocking to the audience of his day, this eerie sound of the bass playing Frere Jacques, but in the minor key. He may have chosen the bass because he wanted it to sound a little bit labored and a little bit strained.
He was evoking the bass fiddles he had heard growing up in Iglau. But he transformed their sound into something beautiful, yet eerie and foreboding. This movement is short, yet Mahler tells us the most about it. He tells us it's a funeral march in the style of Callot, a 17th century artist famous for grotesque caricatures and scenes of war and circuses. We then learn that the subject of the movement would be familiar to any child who had seen the famous engraving by Moritz von Schwind, The Huntsman's Funeral. What Mahler doesn't tell us, what he assumes his audience will already know, is that the words "in the manner of Callot" would bring to mind the work of the author E.T.A. Hoffmann, who published his first collection of stories in the early 1800s. They were called fantasy pieces in the manner of Callot. As Freud later pointed out, they are explorations of the unconscious. The stories tell how frightening moments of childhood can cast menacing shadows on an entire life. That's what's at the heart of this movement. The measured tread of a march, specifically a funeral march like this, is essential raw material for Mahler. He heard so many of them as a boy. In his time, two pieces were used for such funerals, either Chopin's funeral march or this one from Donizetti's last opera, Don Sebastian. This march bears a striking resemblance to much of Mahler's music. In fact, the last of the Wayfarer songs quotes this phrase from Donizetti's march. There's also an echo of the march and the song at the loneliest point of the third movement. Death isn't the only subject of this movement. As is so typical of Mahler, there's relief in the form of comedy and grotesque entertainment.
Mahler said this weird juxtaposition came from a particular childhood memory. During an ugly quarrel between his parents, he ran in terror out the door right into a street musician who was playing "Oh, du lieber Augustin."
Oh, du lieber Augustin, 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 oh, du lieber Augustin.
A lifetime later, he told Sigmund Freud that it was this incident that compelled him to mix the sad and tragic with the ironic and grotesque. That's just what he does in the third movement when he interrupts the funeral march with the sounds of tavern music.
So here, right in the middle of a funeral march, not one, but two dance bands come in. Just the kind of groups that might have spelled one another in the Mahler family's tavern.
To some people, these bands sound Jewish. To others, gypsy. But we're hearing these bands through Mahler's ears, and he's combining styles from the countless pickup groups he had heard over the years.
Mahler started understanding that the clarinet was something that could be used not just to express something melancholy, but even something saucy or sassy or kvetchy or whiny.
The march comes back and rambles into a beautiful musical oasis. It's another part of Songs of the Wayfarer. The words speak of the beauty of the linden tree and the peacefulness of forgetful sleep under its branches.
Auf der Straße steht ein Lindenbaum, da hab ich zum ersten Mal im Schlaf geruht.
The music is so beautiful it can make you cry. Why do we cry when we hear something beautiful? It's because we fear it's too beautiful to last.
This is an essential quality of Mahler's music, remembering that sense of beauty and wonder, the wonder he tells us that in spite of life's bitterness and sorrow,
we must always hold on to. The march comes back. It weaves in and out as ever wilder dance bands break in, suggesting slamming windows or closing doors. But in the end, it's the march that remains. Mahler ends the movement like a suspenseful storyteller. Nothing is left but a few ironic whimpers and sighs as the timpani marches off into oblivion. In 1875, at the age of 15, Mahler left Iglau. He went to Vienna, where he was thunderstruck by the revolutionary music of Wagner. He studied at the Vienna Conservatory, and then, at age 20, set out to seek his fortune. He got himself an agent and a 3-month contract as music director in the spa town of Bad Hall. Bad Hall offered its visitors diverting operettas and melodramas in the afternoons. Mahler's duties included not only conducting, but also putting out the music, dusting off the seats, and even walking the theater director's daughter in her stroller. A different show was offered nearly every day, and Mahler had to suffer through some of the most sentimental and second-rate music of the era. And so began the years in which Mahler was a wanderer, a journeyman. He slowly climbed the ladder of success as a conductor and music director, crisscrossing the Austro-Hungarian Empire and beyond. From the provincial towns of Olmütz and Laibach, he moved to bigger, more important opera houses in Kassel, Prague, and then Leipzig. By his late 20s, Mahler was already much in demand and well on his way to becoming music director in a major city, Budapest. By the end of summer 1888, gossipy music lovers of Budapest cafes had heard a hot new rumor. An odd, thin young man had been seen brusquely tromping in and out of the opera house's stage door. Who was he? Some said the opera's new music director. But how could this be? He was clearly young, unknown, foreign, Jewish. Budapest was about to encounter Gustav Mahler. Mahler spent weeks taking the measure of this wonderful place. It was the second biggest house in the empire and had a budget measured in millions per year. Mahler couldn't wait to take control of it all. He had a bridge built right here so he could jump from the pit to the stage. He was everywhere at once, cautioning, encouraging bassoonists and percussionists, moving to adjust the position of chorus members, telling the soloists what to do. He had something to say to everybody. It was specific, it was constructive, but there was something about the way he said it that irritated people. Two of the singers even challenged him to a duel. But even as he obsessed over every detail of the opera house, what was really on his mind was that in his briefcase he had the manuscript of his completed first symphony that was crying out for a premiere.
One of the greatest screams in all music has thrown us right back to the scariest confrontational moment of the first movement. Now it's back with a vengeance. Mahler takes his childhood memories of military music and cleverly twists them into a threatening and scornful march, suggesting an enormous battle scene, like a musical Armageddon. There seems no way out of this. The orchestra thrashes itself into complete exhaustion. And then, just when it seems like there's nowhere to go, somehow Mahler begins to feel his way haltingly toward a precious memory. It's all very beautiful and touching, but Mahler still has his symphonic mission to complete. Too much unfinished business is left. The old menacing bass line creeps in again, and we're thrown right back into the fray.
Mahler is like an entire universe in a symphony.
He combines everything, happiness and sadness, or anxiety and hope.
He is committed to give you the ride of your life.
Finally, the storm seems to have passed. But musically, we're nowhere near where we need to be. This is Mahler's First Symphony in D major. And D major is where we gotta get. And Mahler gets there by pulling off a stunt that made him very proud. Instead of working out some traditional way of modulating to the key he needs, he just goes for it, making a daring leap home in a way that still makes the audience gasp. But even after this triumphant vault, Mahler has parts of his big plan to complete. He wants to bring all the motives of the symphony together and joyously transfigure them. He can't resist showing off his compositional chops, even throwing in a devilish fugue. It all builds to something dark and tense before reaching the final turning point. Now, at last, the scary bass line, the achy fourths sound like a part of Handel's Hallelujah chorus.
All of a sudden, you see this marking in your music asking the entire horn section to stand up. And you feel like you've just been on this ride. And then finally, that last page, you have this glorious call. And it's like riding home on your white stallion.
Mahler's First Symphony premiered at Budapest's Redutensaal in 1889. None who attended the performance realized what a historic event they had witnessed. At 28, Mahler already possessed the raw material and creative genius that would mark all his symphonies and weave them together into a single vision, a symphony of life. So in this extraordinary original First Symphony, Mahler did so many things. One is the very opening sound of the piece, which Mahler calls Naturlaut, sound of nature. Into this comes a chain of achy descending fourths, which have something to do with his own mournful feelings about life. And the purpose of this whole symphony is a way to transform this achy fourth into this triumphant hallelujah.
For more on keeping score, visit pbs.org.